So welcome students to my new channel Success Gyan Mantra. So earlier it was as Easy Notes for Your Academy. Now we have changed the name of it like the Success Gyan Mantra. In this series of the lecture, I am going through about some important topics of the teaching aptitudes. So if once you will go through that complete video, then I am definitely sure, I am giving you the guarantee that nobody will stop you to get the 10 marks from the teaching aptitude. So if you will go through this video, and after this I will also just upload a second video which was related to the last 20 years previous years questions based on the teaching aptitude. अगर आपने ये पूरा वीडियो देख लिया, उसके बाद वो एक और जो प्रीवियस ईयर से रिलेटेड मैं क्वेश्चंस अपलोड करूंगा, अगर उन दोनों वीडियोस को आप देख लोगे तो आपको कोई भी नहीं रोक सकता आपका जो एग्जाम में 10 के 10 टीचिंग एप्टीट्यूड से रिलेटेड मार्क्स लाने के लिए. तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं. टीचिंग एप्टीट्यूड होता क्या है? So what is the teaching aptitude? So it is the process of share your knowledge and the helps others to achieve their goals. So it is basically a process of sharing knowledge. So we are sharing our knowledge, we are imparting the knowledge in the mind of the students, and we are helping the others to achieve their goals. So definitely it is a process, it is a journey to impart some knowledge so that others can gain their others can achieve their goals. So according to the Morrison, it is intimate contact between the more mature personality and less mature one. So the less mature personality means the teacher, less mature one means the student. So it is a combination, it is a relationship between the teacher and the student. So it is the teaching aptitudes is constitutes in the combination of the teaching plus the aptitude. So here the teaching means it is a personal relationship between teacher and the student causing the behavior modification. So here there is a mean of the behavior modification means we are trying to change the behavior of the any person who are illiterate and who don't have the knowledge of a particular aspect. So we are providing some knowledge. After gaining the knowledge, the behavior of that person is changed. So it is a process of changing and modification of the behavior in the student. So aptitude means the natural behavior to do something. So in that we are just making some change in the behavior of the student to do something, to achieve something, to achieve their goals, to achieve their aims. And the teaching aptitude ultimately means the natural ability to teach. So it shows the ability, how the teacher is able to teach and what the ability is required a teacher to teach. So it provides a capability, ability to teach to a particular person. So a person who are able to teach and have all the ability, then we can say it is a teacher, and we can say the guru. In the second, you can see the concept of the teaching. So teaching is a part of the teaching learning process. So it is a teaching learning process where a teacher will teach, a student will learn. So it is required to bring the specific changes in a person according to the need of the society and environment in which he is living. So it makes change into the person or into the students. So according to the need of the society and environments where the student is living in the environment and society. So what is the requirement of the society? What is the requirement of the environment? So according to environment, according to society, we provide the knowledge to the student. So it is a process in which the learners, teachers, curriculum and the other variables are organized in a systematic way to attain some predetermined goals. So it is an important part of the education. So the old goals are set, which is called as the predetermined goals. So we are already decided about the goals. So to achieve those goals, we are just using the learners, the teacher, the curriculum and other variables. So we are organizing all the things. We are combining all the things to achieve that goals. So it is called the teaching. So there is some definition is given according to Smith, Burns and the Jackson. So according to Smith, teaching is a system of the actions intended to produce the learning. So basically it is actions, or we can say activities which is done by the teacher to produce learning, to provide the learning. And according to Burns, the teaching is a relationship which keeps the child to develop all the powers. So it provides powers to the student and to the child. So it is a relationship with the student so that it will develop the power of the student to learn something, power to do something, power to achieve the goals. According to the Jackson, The teaching is a face-to-face encounters between two or more persons, one of whom intend to bring the certain changes in the other participants. So it shows that it is a relationship between the two person. One person is bring the changes into the other person. Other person means participants, and one person, the person who are making and intended to bring some certain changes. So it is a relationship between the teacher and student to imparting some knowledge, to make some changes. Next, there is three viewpoints of the teaching. One is the authoritarian, second is the democratic, and third is the laissez-faire. So first, authoritarian is called as the teacher centered. We are focusing on the teacher's role for the students. And democratic means it is a student centric. So we are making all the policies and rules as per to considering the student centric. The how we can get the better learning to the student. We are focusing on the student. And laissez-faire, we are focusing on the subject centered. Means we are focusing on the curriculum. We are focusing on the subject, how we can provide the better subject and better curriculum which match the requirements of the society and environment to the student, and which meet the requirements of the all the skills required to get to their knowledge to achieve their goals. Then there are some objectives of the teaching concept. What are the various objectives? Like to bring the desired change in the pupils or the students, acquisition of the knowledge, to acquire the knowledge, to gain the knowledge, formation of the belief, to shape the behavior and conduct, to improve the learning skills of the students, to provide a social and efficient members of the society. So all these points are included in the all the definition we already told you about that. So it's all about the modification of the behavior of the student by providing the knowledge, to imparting the skills in the students, to provide a social and efficient member of the society. So it's all about the to gaining the knowledge and to provide the knowledge to make the student competitive and to make the student capable to make some changes in the societies. Then characterization of the good teaching. So what are the various characteristics of the good teaching? To whom you can say it is a good teaching? So it is a desire to share your love of the subject with the students. So you may have to be in love with a particular subject. Until unless you will not love any subject, you cannot teach the well to the students. Firstly, you have to try to love with your subject. You have to make interest in your subject. Then an ability to make the material being taught stimulating and interesting. So subject whatever you are just teaching, it should be stimulate the urges of the student, it stimulate the student's desires, it stimulate the student's learning, it stimulate the student's behavior, and it make the student interesting about your subject, about your teaching. Then a capacity to explain the material plainly. So a teacher should be in a capacity and a capable that he can explain everything very in the simplifying manner. Showing the concern and respect of the students. So always a teacher always be show the concern and respect about the student. They must understand the problems of the student and try to provide the knowledge and learning as per according to the student's pace and the capabilities. Using the valid assessment method, we provide a valid assessment method. So whatever the valid assessment, like the through which we can get the actual performance of the student, we can able to determine the slow learner and the fast learner and the average learners. Giving the highest quality feedback on the student work. So we also give the highest quality feedback on the student work. If the students are really working well, so we can provide a highest quality feedback on the student work, so that student can be encouraged to do some more things. Using teaching methods and academic tasks that require student to learn the actively. So teacher always try to different method of teaching, and they are also fulfill some academic tasks which are important and relevant to the development of the student, so that student can learn actively. So we have to create some interesting things for the student. We have to come out with some new ideas, innovations. We imparting some new knowledge to the students. Then the nature of teaching. So the nature of teaching is the dynamic. It should be dynamic. Means you should not follow the same thing again and again. It should be dynamic as per according to the requirement of the students. Your teaching method should be changed. It should be as per according to the society need and as per according to the social needs. Humanity should be there in your teaching. The human beings should be there. Then the both art and science, the teaching is also as well as art and science. Art, we can say it is a skill, it is a art of just providing a knowledge to the students. And science, because we are following some principle, some methods, some rules like the teaching method and techniques, then we can say it is a science. And diverse in applications, because we are applying the teaching at various places to imparting the knowledge to student, to provide a better knowledge, to provide so practical knowledge, we are imparting practical knowledge from the various diverse informations. And we are applying the knowledge into the different method, different mode to the students by using various type of the devices, IT tools. Then characterization of the teacher, the system of action, it is a professional activities subjected to analysis and assessment. We are analyze and assess the students feedback so that we can able to know the performance of the students. Interaction process, we are always be do some interaction process with the students. So how we can interact with the students, so what is the better method to interact the students so that student get, we can identify the student issues, the problems. Then specialization task, we give the task to the particular students as per according to their specialization and capacity, and the teacher should be like that, it should be specialized in a particular area where they can understand and they can able to provide a good knowledge as per according to their area of specialization. Then collection of the various modes, so teacher always should focus how they can collect the various modes of the various modes, how we can collect the various methods information and collect the informations. So they will having some collection of the various modes like the some lectures, some PPTs, some other materials, some demos, some models to provide a better knowledge to the students. Then what are the goals of the teaching? So teaching to bring the changes in the behavior of the student. Conditioning means to improve the learning skills of the students. Training means the shaping the behavior and conduct. Instructions means acquisition of the knowledge. Indoctrination means formation of the beliefs among the students. So all these are the goals. So goals is teaching goals means they will try to change the behavior in the students. What conditioning are followed to improve the learning skill of the students. What are the training? The training is giving to shaping the behavior and the conduct. How the student will conduct, the code of conduct. Then instructions is given to provide the knowledge to the students. And indoctrination means they will formation of the beliefs, they will create some trust among the students. Then the levels of teaching. So teachers teach students at 3 levels. They have to keep in mind about the development stages of the learners. So according to the different development stages, the different level of teaching are there. First is memory level. So memory level is focused on the thought-less teaching. This is the thought-less teaching. We are not focusing on various innovative ideas and some thoughtful process. And understanding level, we are focused on the thoughtful teaching. And in reflective level, upper thoughtful level, we are using the upper thoughtful level. So on the hierarchy of the level of teaching, like the reflective level, the most thoughtful, understanding level, the thoughtful, the memory level, very less thoughtful. So you can say what is the memory level teaching. So objective of memory level teaching is to impart the information or knowledge. We basically provide only the information and knowledge, the basic knowledge and information to the student. So supported by the Herbert theory of appreciation. So it is based on the Herbert theory of appreciation. It covers only the knowledge based objectives of Bloom's taxonomy. So we are following the Bloom taxonomy. So what is the Bloom taxonomy? So there is a separate lecture on the Bloom taxonomy. You can just watch that lecture. Then first stage of the teaching. So it is the first stage of teaching too. Then factual in nature, useful in lower classes. So we will basically implement this type of teaching on the lower classes at the primary level. So teacher dominated methods are used like the drill, review, revision, asking questions. So we are just focusing on the oral, written and essay type examination. Then merit of the memory level teaching, useful for young children, helpful in learning new concept, useful for the slow learners, base for understanding in the reflective levels. And demerits of the memory level teaching, not suitable for the higher class. It's not at all suitable for the higher level. Is dominance of the teacher means teacher-centric method. Little interaction in the classroom. The teacher will make a little interaction in the classroom. Loss of the retention and recall. The student will forget the things very easily, and it is difficult to recall that. And it is based on the use of the rote memory. So it is only the ratification. We are just revise the things. We are repeating the things. Problems of classroom management. So it also having the problem of the classroom management. There is no better classroom management. So because there is only a demonstration method, the lecture method. So it is just focusing on how we can just revise the thing, how the student can understand by the repeating the same thing again and again. Then what is the understanding level of teaching? So objective is to develop the cognitive abilities of the student. So understanding level of teaching explain pupils or the students about the relationship between the principle and facts. So in that, all the teacher will try to connection between the principle and facts. What are the various facts based on the different principles? Like the law of Newton law. So Newton law shows some principles and facts, and it also lets students know where these principles are applicable, so where these principle, rules and regulation can apply. It comes between memory level and the reflective level. So it is a middle part of the memory level and the reflective level. Then understanding means to comprehend, to grasp and to have knowledge of, to learn, to interpret and to infer. So it is focused on to comprehend the things, to grasp something, to get something and to have knowledge of. They try to get some knowledge about the facts and information, and they try to learn and they try to interpret the things. And according to the Herbert, 3 forms of the mental reality. So Herbert told about the 3 forms of the mental reality. One is the sense impressions. See what is the impressions about the various senses of the students. What are the images? Through the images, how the students can perceive, and through the elective elements of the pleasure and pain. So what are the various elective elements which can give some pleasure or the pain? These are play an important role in the understanding level. So what is the objective of the understanding level of teaching? So there is mainly 2 objectives. One is the understanding objectives, second is the application objective. So understanding objective focuses how the things are understood through the instructional message, by providing some instruction, by providing a demonstration, by means of interpreting the things, by exemplifying, by classifying, by comparing the things, by inferring, like that. Applications objectives. So it includes the use of the proper procedure of executing and implementing the use of principles, rules in practical life situations. So we are just focusing how we can apply the things in practical life, in the real life situations. And now the nature of the subject matter, the content of the teaching learning at this level is quite wide as comprehend to that needed at a memory level teaching. So the content also include the applications of the principle, generalizations and due real life situations. So I already told it to focus on the real life situations, how we can just, it is wide in the teaching learning process because it involves both the teacher as well as students. So there is active part of the both the teacher and learning to gain some knowledge. So learn the things from the practical examples, from the practical real life situations. So method used for the teaching in understanding level of teaching, like the lecture method used, lecture demonstration method, discussion, exemplifications and explanations, inductive or deductive reasoning, like that. This type of the method is used in the teaching in understanding level of teaching. So classroom climate, what should be the classroom climate in this type of the level of teaching? More likely and encouraging as compared to that of the memory level of teaching. Better class management is there in the, because it will make and create the interest of the student if we will learn through some practical examples. Learners are actively engaged in the learning process. They involve some practical tasks, some practical models, some practical charts, images, like that. So they actively engage in this learning process. Learners are actively engaged in the learning process. They actively engage in the learning process. They are learn the things with the full of interest. Then what is the nature of motivation in this level of understanding? Motivation and understanding level of teaching is intrinsic as well as extrinsic, means external as well as internal in nature. So what are the teaching equipment is required in at here? Models are used to demonstrate the things, to provide the practical knowledge. Charts are used to provide a practical and to provide a visual information. Flashcards is used to get the cognitive knowledge, to provide a cognitive knowledge to the student. Pictures are used to for the cognitive knowledge to the students. So evaluation procedure is that we give the some tests and tools should be properly planned. Planned tests should evaluate the student's ability to comprehend, grasp, analyze, synthesize and discriminate. So a test and tools are given to the students. So through the various practical examples or practical problems, we assess the and evaluate the students. Then what are the merits of the understanding level of teaching? The effective learning is there, development of the different cognitive abilities, set stages for the entering into the reflective stage of teaching, effective classroom instruction is there. Then demerits of the understanding level of teaching. It ignores the higher cognitive abilities because we are just focusing on the cognitive abilities but not the higher cognitive abilities is there. Less emphasize on the intrinsic motivation. So we are focusing on the external more and more, but less on internal motivation of the students. No individualized learning. We are not focusing each and every student on the individual basis. It is a teacher centered, so we are focusing on the teacher centered. The overall control in the hands of the teacher. So teacher will focus, and there is important role of the teacher in this type of the level of teaching. Then what is the reflective level of teaching? So objective of the reflective level of teaching is to develop the insight into the learner to solve the problem. So we are focused on how the problems of learner can be solved. Then to develop the rational and the critical thinking in the student. So we are imparting some rational and critical thinking. The student have to be forced to think about some problems, some rational problems. They will rationalize the things. And third is to develop the ability of independent thinking and decision making in the students. So we provide some independent thinking, and we provide the students an environment where they will think independently and they can able to take the decision independently. They will not depend on the teachers. So in this level of the teaching, the overall the focus on the student. So it is a student centric method. So this level is also known as the introspective level, where the student have to be introspect from their own knowledge, how they are gaining the knowledge from the different environment, how they can learn the things from the different methods, the self learning. They will analyze, they will solve the problem, they will try to solve the practical problems and some life problems. Then reflecting on the something means giving the careful thought to something over a period of time. It also means the thinking deeply about the something. They will think about the something deeply, like the case studies. So many of the students are just doing the case studies. So the case study is related to the some reflective level of teaching. Some students who are just preparing some software engineering, preparing some apps, some software, some websites. So this type of the learning is called as the reflective level of teaching. Reflective level of teaching is considered to be the highest level at which teaching is carried out. So highest level of teaching learning process. It is the highest level of teaching learning process. So characteristics in the reflective level of teaching are: the role of the teacher in this level of teaching is democratic, means the more we are just focusing more and more on the students. The role of the student is quite active. Teaching at the reflective level enables the student to solve the real problems of the life. So they are focusing on the real life situation. A student can attain this level only after going through the memory level and the understanding level. For example, if a research scholar doing the research on any area, any problem, any social problem, so this type of the teaching is called as the reflective level of the teaching. It is highly thoughtful and useful. At this level, the student is made to face a real problematic situation, so they will try to sort out any real life problem, real life situations, preparing software, preparing a model for any companies, for the government. They're providing a effective model for the government, like that. So merits of the reflective level of teaching are the teaching at this level is a learner centered. We are focusing on the learners, how we can just provide a better learning to the learners. There is an interaction between the teacher and the taught, so it is a relationship between the teacher and what the teacher have taught. So teaching is appropriate for this type of the level of teaching, appropriate for higher level of classes, for at the bachelor level, at the master level. So teaching is highly thoughtful and useful than the teaching at the memory or the understanding level. So we are focusing on the critical thinking in this level of the teaching. And what are the demerits? Demerits of the reflective level of teaching are that not suitable for the small children at the lower level of teaching, where the revision and repetition is required. So therefore, the student cannot acquire the systematic and organized knowledge for their study course. So in that case, there is no systematic procedure we are followed. There is no organized knowledge there. So whatever the any problem is occurred, any social problem, any research, so we are carried out. So we are, and the there is no systematic organized structure, procedure, and syllabus and curriculum is there. So they are just learning from the practical things and the real life problems. So teaching is a dynamic change in the communication and environment. There are three variables of the environment. One is the dependent, another is the independent, and intervening. So the three variables are used in that: teacher, student, and teaching method and the teaching strategy, that is the intervening. So it is a relationship between the teacher and student. So student are the dependent variable, he is totally depend on the teacher, and teacher is the independent variable. So intervening is assisting in the process of teaching. So basic requirement of teaching means the professionalism should be there. So the teacher should be have a good professional and good having the good skills and use their skills to learn and to impart the knowledge to the students. Suitable environment is required. Student discipline is required, and teacher-student relationship should be good, so that the teacher can understand the problems of the student and they can try to solve the problems of the students. Teacher devotion, so there should be a dedication among the teachers, there should be a commitment in the teachers to provide the high quality of education to the student. And all these three variables I already told: teacher, student, and the teaching methods. So thank you so much. So this was all about the teaching. What is the teaching? What the various methods are required in the teaching? What are the various characteristics of the teachers are there, and what are the various level of the teaching? So go through this whole lecture. After that, we will just go through the next part and the next lecture into the next videos. And in the last, we will go through some previous year's questions based on the teaching aptitude. So once you will go through all these three videos, then nobody can stop you to gain the high marks.